maybe the CS needs to also do some more of civic education in the rural counties so that more of our women may take these particular funds to at least empower them economically, especially in the groups, so that they can develop. Honorable Speaker, I remember when I was the MB for Marakwet West, we worked very closely with the ministry to ensure more groups and also assist them to basically undertake projects that are more viable, that will give them a profit. So that's what we just want to ask her to maybe focus and go to the use the officers on the ground to assist our women groups so that they can be empowered. Honorable Speaker, also maybe as a government they need to look at the Women Enterprise Fund and the Youth Enterprise Fund and the ASLA Fund. Is it possible, maybe at some stage, maybe it's good to merge them together into one serious empowerment fund to assist the youth and the women and the BWDs? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now proceed to respond.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for again giving me a chance to clarify, especially on the questions that have been asked earlier. So Senator Veronica asked about the issue of funding. To be able to reach many women, we require the funds. And that is the challenge that is there, considering that the amount of money that had been given earlier, most of it has not been repaid back, and it was supposed to be a revolving fund. However, if subject to availability of funds, we shall be able to lend to as many groups as possible, because you just require a group of 10 members, and they don't require any security. The security is the chiefs, and then the local leadership. These are people who know each other. So there is no security that is required. Senator Marzayo, we have a department of market linkages, and we are working to ensure that our women products reach the markets. And definitely, as a ministry, we are looking at an all-government approach. So it does this Women Enterprise Fund is not working in isolation. We work with the other ministries to ensure that we make use of the already existing structures. Senator Abbas asked about the sensitization of the women. We have the fund operators who are on the ground sensitizing the women on how to access this credit. And we use all the same local administration to pass the information, because that is where these women are. So we work with them to ensure that they, in their normal meetings or in the local administration, women are sensitized on the need to borrow so that they can also access funds for purposes of running their businesses. There is also an introduction of Sharia-compliant products because of the Muslim culture. And you know them, they don't believe in interest, they believe in profits, if I'm not wrong. So we are trying to ensure that we capture all sectors.
We are also intensifying information to ensure that we reach the women at the marginalized areas. So all these measures that are there is to ensure that everyone, even if it's using the vernacular stations, to ensure that they know what is happening. But mostly we have an all-government approach. We work with all the other sectors of the government to ensure that we make use of the platforms that we have to pass the information. I can't quite remember the question that was asked by Senator Abbas.
Senator Abbas, maybe you may repeat the question.
But the rural areas don't have title deeds.
Yes.
And mostly in Kenya, actually women don't own many properties. They're more of a patriarchal country. It's only men who own most of the titles. So is there any other way that we have, without security or any other measures that can be used for the women to access the fund without any title deed?
Thank you. Thank you, Senator. I think that is a question that then I will just re-emphasize that the Women Enterprise Fund, we don't ask for security. Security is just a local administration and their own groups because they know each other. And the officers who are there to ensure that they monitor and they remind them. Sometimes it is not that they don't want to pay. It is because monitoring. That is why digital could not work. But this one for borrowing one-on-one is what is helping because we have their data and their forms. Senator Saf? No, Senator Kisang. Sorry, Senator, it is somebody else who wrote. I know your name properly. Civic education is what is very key. The women have to be reminded
every time that this is a facility that belongs to all women. It is not for a special category of people. And this civic education is being carried out at the constituency level, and the women are being advised, or rather they are being educated through their forums, even in churches where they are meeting, to be told that this is a facility that is there and it is available to anyone as
long as you meet the minimum requirement of being at least 10 members. So, and I know most of the places, the marginalized communities, some of this information has not reached out to them, but that is exactly what we shall be endeavoring to do, to ensure that we reach out in all forums, that they are available, to ensure that they get to know that this facility is available and they should make use of it. Thank you very much.
Senator Olakina.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me begin by congratulating the newly appointed Cabinet Secretary. I was with her in Narok last week, or is it 2 weeks ago? And my question to you, knowing that you're the new kid on the block, and women demands a lot from you. I've listened to the questions asked by my colleagues. On this issue of women being able to borrow money, access that money, are you in a position to devolve? Because I'm imagining of a woman in Baringo or a woman in Narok County in Mosiru who cannot be able to access through the phone, who also is not able to come to Nairobi. How is that woman going to know that there is money that she can be able to apply, either individually or through a group? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for that question. If you remember in my answer, initially we said this issue of digital borrowing has been almost vacated because it is not every woman has a phone. Not everybody has a phone, by the way. So we are reverting back to manual borrowing, and that requires personnel to ensure that they go educating the members, or rather the women, on the availability of this fund. So we are using the constituency. We have officers at the constituency level who are tasked with that role of ensuring that they educate the members on the availability of that fund. And when we talk about constituencies, that is where they are. And we have an officer who is actually educating them at that level. Then that information with time, maybe progressively, with time it will reach out to them. And we shall also be making a follow-up to ensure that we don't just speak, but we ensure that we also get the reports from the constituency level on how many people, how much publicity has been made to our clients then. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable CS. I will now allow the Senator for Kisumu, the Honorable Professor Tom Ojenda, to ask question number 76. Honorable Senator, you may. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I want to ask the question from this desk. Mr. Speaker, to the CS Gender, Culture and Arts and Heritage, I wish to ask question number 76. CS, what factors have been identified the major causes of the recent surge in gender-based violence cases, including the alarming rise in femicide incidents, which reached at least 170 cases in a 79% increase compared to 2023. Part two, what institutional challenges currently hinder the effective enforcement, the effective of GBV-related laws, and what systemic reforms are being implemented to strengthen the capacity of law enforcement agencies and the judiciary in handling gender-based violence. So, Speaker, part 3 is, could the Cabinet Secretary provide data on the prosecution and conviction rates for GBV and femicide cases in Kenya over the past 5 years, and indicate whether there are plans to establish GBV courts to expedite and sensitively handle these cases. Part D, what is the current status of the implementation of the Protection Against Domestic Violence Act and the national policy on prevention and response on the availability, accessibility, and distribution of safe shelters? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may now respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and member, for that question. Honorable Speaker, the recent surge in gender-based violence and femicide in Kenya has escalated into a national crisis, prompting urgent calls for comprehensive action. Between August and October 2024 alone, at least 97 women were killed in gender-related murders. This multifaceted crisis requires a concerted effort to challenge societal norms, strengthen legal frameworks, and provide comprehensive support to survivors. Only through systemic change and sustained commitment can Kenya hope to reverse the rising tide of GBV and femicide. In cases of gender-based violence and femicide, increased cases of GBV and femicide are driven by a complex mix of social, economic, cultural, legal, and institutional factors. And below are the contributors. Contributor number 1 in the list is socio-economic factors. We live in a patriarchal society, and patriarchal norms and gender inequality societies prioritize male dominance and control over women, often normalize violence. Harmful traditional practices such as child marriage and female genital mutilation contribute to GBV, and stigma and silence around GBV cultural taboos often prevent survivors from speaking out or seeking help. Economic factors: poverty and unemployment. Financial stress can increase household tensions, leading to violence. Women in economically dependent positions are more vulnerable. And economic disempowerment of women limits women's ability to live abusive relationship or report violence. Legal and institutional gaps. Weak enforcement of GBV laws Perpetrators often go unpunished due to corruption, poor policing, or lack of evidence. Inadequate protection mechanisms, lack of shelters, limited legal aid, and psychosocial support services, which are wanting. Slow justice systems, survivors may be discouraged from pursuing cases due to delays or traumatizing processes. Political and conflict-related factors, insecurity and conflict. During war or political unrest, GBV is often used as a weapon or becomes more prevalent due to breakdown of laws and order and inadequate political support in some devolved units.
Media technology.
There is normalization of violence in the media. Exposure to violent content can desensitize audiences or perpetuate harmful gender norms. Cyberbullying and online harassment. Social media has become a new frontier for GBV, especially against women in public life. Alcohol and substance abuse. Increased use of alcohol and drug abuse are linked to impulsivity and aggression behavior. At homes and in public spaces. The B of that question is what institutional challenges currently hinder the effective enforcement